Beginning next week, the parents of the Oxford school shooter will finally have their days in court. In two separate trials, the Oakland County prosecutor will try to hold James and Jennifer Crumbley responsible for their son's actions. They are cases that could have far-reaching implications. 7 investigator Ross Jones previews the trials tonight.
The notion that a parent could read those words and also know that their son had access to a deadly weapon that they gave him is unconscionable, and I think it's criminal.
2 years since the unprecedented charges against them were announced, James and Jennifer Crumbley are about to go to trial. Each face charges of involuntary manslaughter and up to 60 years in prison for failing to stop their son Ethan from killing 4 of his classmates.
It's just such a terrifying thought as a parent, and I think that probably maybe consciously or subconsciously fuels Karen McDonald in bringing these charges.
Attorneys like Michael Bellata have followed the case closely because it's the first time that a third party could be held accountable in a school shooting. For 23 years, Bellata was a federal prosecutor in Detroit and Los Angeles. Today, he's a criminal defense attorney.
Would you rather defend this case or prosecute it?
I'd rather just be talking to you about it. It's such a tough case. I certainly don't think I would want to prosecute it because the parents did contribute to this, but did they cause the death?
Key evidence in the trials will be how Ethan's parents secured the gun he later used to commit the mass shooting, along with his cries for help. By charging each parent with involuntary manslaughter, the prosecution needs to prove 2 things. First, that the Crumbleys were grossly negligent, meaning they knew about the dangers posed by allowing their son access to a gun. And second, that the gun, coupled with Ethan's cries for help, made the Oxford shooting a foreseeable tragedy.
But I think the jury's first reaction is going to be, this is everybody's reaction is, wow, I'm on this case where these 4 children died. It's incredibly tragic. It's unspeakable. It's unimaginable. If it's unimaginable, it's so tragic and so horrible and unusual that how can it be foreseeable?
While involuntary manslaughter charges are unprecedented in a case like this, there have been recent examples where parents of shooters have faced prosecution. Last year, a 6-year-old Virginia boy shot his teacher using his mother's gun. She was charged with using marijuana while possessing a firearm and in November was sentenced to 21 months in prison. That same month, the father of an Illinois man pled guilty to 7 misdemeanor charges of reckless conduct after he helped his son obtain a gun he later used to kill 7 people. But his sentence was only 60 days in jail.
I think it's going to be very difficult for them to get a fair trial in Oakland County, given all the pre-trial publicity.
Attorney Mike Rattay believes finding an impartial jury will be difficult in Oakland County, given the last 2 years of media coverage. Picking a jury will be job 1 starting January 23rd. When the trial begins in earnest, we know at least some of the evidence Judge Cheryl Matthews will allow. This week, she ruled that video from inside the school that day, along with a testimony of a teacher who was shot, an assistant principal who talked to Ethan before his arrest, and a witness to one of the 4 murders, will be allowed at trial.
In the court of public opinion, these people are guilty. And what people need to keep in mind is that the Crumbleys are presumed to be innocent.
And when the first trial begins on Tuesday, the case will have the attention of lawyers nationwide, because the verdict, if there is one, will influence how school shooting cases are charged going forward.
This is a prime example of a case that could result in a mistrial, because there could and there probably will be some jurors saying, this is so horrible, these parents are terrible, they need to be held accountable. And then there's other jurors that may say, hey, I'm a parent, I don't want to be responsible for the actions of my children.
The Crumbleys will be tried separately, with each trial expected to take 2 to 3 weeks. The court has not yet announced which parent will go first. I'm Ross Jones, 7 Action News.
Okay, Ross, thank you.